So I just put out a video about CB radio. It's probably going to piss everybody off. I don't really care. Like I said, I was a kid back in the 80s on the CB radio, and I had a lot of fun. Other kids in my neighborhood had CB radios. We didn't have cell phones and pagers back then. We didn't have the internet. And it was a lot better. We actually rode our bikes. We pedaled them. They didn't have batteries in them. We weren't fat and lazy. We went fishing. We went and did things. You know? We went skateboarding. You know, it was the 80s, you know? I mean, like, we actually did things. You know, we didn't go screaming and crying because we fell down and scraped our knee. We had Radio Shack, walkie-talkies, you know. Some of us built things, and we built tree houses, and, you know, we did stuff. These kids nowadays, I don't know. And half of the people that are on ham radio, I don't think they grew up that way either, so they're just like, oh, I just bought a brand new 101. How does it sound? I bought a $300 $400 Alpha Delta antenna. How does it sound on my Mercury amplifier? Because I don't know how to tune up a tube. I keep blowing up amplifiers, so I finally bought a Mercury. And that's what I hear on the radio most of the time. And then if it's not that, we get completely invaded like a bunch of you know what on the weekends when the contest people think that they own the band. And then they disappear back into their hole after the contest is over. And then the rest of the time, it's just really not that exciting. There are some really good conversations had on the internet, or not the internet, the you know, the ham radio. I didn't actually think that the guys on DMR are having more fun. I mean, it's a little ridiculous they want to log contacts on QRZ, but I mean, they're actually like being a little more technical. I mean, half of the lids on HF couldn't figure out how to set up a mobile hotspot. They couldn't figure out how to set up the Brandmeister. You know, they couldn't figure out any of that crap. They can barely figure out how to not blow up an amplifier. You know, these MMDVMs, you know, they might be easy for some people, but they're not easy for everybody. And I know a lot of people that can't figure them out. I mean, if you can't program a Bofang radio, you're not going to figure that thing out. And a lot of the guys on HF, they can't figure it out. There's guys that we know that have blown up the same amplifier 10 times, and they just continue to keep doing the same thing and spending money on stuff. But it's not like it's one person, it's a lot of them. There is a lot of these guys. And we all make mistakes and blow things up. But, you know, I mean, like, there's a high percentage of these guys that they just go buy stuff. They don't know what they're doing. They don't even understand. I'm not even sure how they got their license. Like, I listened to this guy talk about, he took advantage of a situation and bought this dead guy stuff, and he ended up with like all this really nice stuff. He bought like an FTDX 5000 for a couple $100. He totally like screwed these people over, and a lot of people locally know about it. And I just think if the guy's watching and you know who you are, you're a fucking piece of shit. Okay, you can go fuck off and die. Just like the guy that died that you got the radio from. Your turn's next. But this fucking retard was whining about how noisy the SB220 was. And so anyway, this idiot is ordering a Mercury amplifier, and he thinks he's going to get rid of the tuner, the Palstar tuner or whatever tuner it was that he's using with the SB220. And he thinks that he's going to use the tuner in the radio to tune the amplifier's output. Can you fucking believe that? For a fucking second, can you even believe that somebody would be that fucking stupid? My God. The radio is before the amplifier. How in the hell are you going to tune the output of the amplifier with the radio. The amplifier is a modern amplifier. It is always going to present a 50 ohm load on the input. And it wants to see a 50 ohm load on the output. How fucking dumb are you? My God. And this guy, nobody even checked him on it. They were all talking on 3853. And he's like, yeah, I'm waiting for my Mercury to show up. I'm just gonna use it with the radio, and I'm gonna let the radio tune the amplifier. I'm not gonna use this noisy, terrible SB220 that I got for nothing with this Palstar or whatever manual tuner, because I'm too lazy. I don't want to use a manual tuner. I'm gonna let the radio on the input tune it. And what's really funny is these local hams have all like clamored to this dude to help him out and do all this stuff for him. And I'm sorry, but if you give somebody a couple $100, a family of the deceased ham, for an FDDX 5000, you should be ashamed of yourself, because those things go for $2,000 to $3,000 used. Still, you didn't give him $1,000. I think he gave him like $350 or something. One of the guys told me about it very reluctantly. So this is why I don't talk to the local hams around here, because this is what we have. This is what's in the hobby around here. Some of the dirtiest, shadiest, nastiest people I've ever met have been in ham radio. Now, don't get me wrong, I've met some pretty nasty CBIs too, but I've met a lot more dirty, shady, filthy, crooked, dishonest ham operators. Absolutely terrible, terrible pieces of crap. And I'm sure you have too. If you're still watching this video and you're not mad, you've probably run into some of these people. You're probably not one of them. There's a lot of good hams out there, and there's a lot of bad ones. But the bad ones, they spoil the whole lot, and they really make it look really bad. And after a while, it starts to seem like they're all really shady. But in fact, it's really not that way. Okay, it's really not that way. But, I mean, it's just some of these people, they're just, like, they have no conscience. They don't care. I don't even get it. So, I'm going to put this video out on my other channel, because what'll happen is, if I put this on my regular channel, these guys are going to whine and cry and leave negative comments. So, yep.